This is a variety channel. So if anyone's wondering what my main focus is on my channel, I really don't have one particular thing I focus on, but my main focusi are astrology and the occult, music, usually my music. I do some commentary on pop culture and news. I also do numerology, different occult topics. And I also do just stories about life, all sorts of things. So it's really not one thing I do on this channel, but one thing that I want to start doing a lot more of is astrology. And it was to the point where I'm debating starting an astrology channel, and it'd be called 12th House Astrology. But I really do love this Acoustic Stevo channel, and I've been doing it for so long. I have a feeling I'm shadow banned, and that's kind of why I've been floating the idea of just doing astrology stuff outside of this channel to try to, develop that and actually have it go somewhere instead of being suppressed. But I think I am going to try doing it on here a little bit more and just, maybe finish out the year and make those decisions and kind of experiment around with this channel. Because I really do love this channel, and I have a lot of stuff I'm proud of on here. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get into this live stream. I'm going to see if I could figure out a way to get this. You could see my chat up right now, and I would like it to just kind of pop in when people chat, kind of come on and off. I don't want to have to leave this open. But other than this, and I think there is a way to go about this where this isn't an issue, I just haven't figured it out. Omelet Arcade has been awesome for streaming. It's like everything that I've wanted something to be and more. So, shout out to you guys at Omelet Arcade. You're doing a great job. And that being said, I'm going to get out of my chat now. I'll go back into it from time to time, but I don't want this main block to be covering up the screen. So let me go ahead and get out of that. Alright, so today I'm going to show you, you can read your own horoscope, but this is something I have been thinking a lot about lately, and it's not, so I'm going to show you how to put in your information and get a free natal horoscope. But that's not the main focus of this video. The main focus of this video is when you've been in astrology for a while, you learn the basics of astrology, and then you start to come up with your own concepts, a lot of people. And then you start to put them into, into practice by studying them in other people's charts and your own charts to see if they're applicable or not. Some of these things you may have just occurred to you. And what I'm going to be talking about is something that I've kind of come up with. I'm not sure if anyone else has really delved into this, but I'm going to. And it's the subconscious natal chart. Like, we all think about the natal chart as kind of, it has its elements in it that kind of talk to the subconscious, but I've discovered that there's actually something that you can look at in your natal chart that can tell you the subconscious theme of your natal chart, and it's separate than the conscious theme. So therefore there's also a conscious theme, but I'm going to be talking about the subconscious theme. So I'm going to pull up my chart because it's a good example, and in doing so I'll be showing you how to use Astro.com's free natal chart service. So here we go. What you want to do is just go on to Astro.com. There's the exact address if you want to go to it that way. But you just type in your name. I'm going to put Acoustic Stevo. I don't think I have a natal chart saved in here for Acoustic Stevo with no last name, so that'll be fun. I'm male. My birthday is October 21st, 1978, so I'm going to go ahead and put in a 21. October 1978, and hopefully you can figure out what your birth time is. My birth certificate is awesome. It has 10:29 a.m. and the 29's crossed off, and off to the side there's a 30. So I guess I was born like right when it changed or something, to the point where the minute was, I guess, in contention and they had to cross it out. So I'm going to go ahead and put 10:30 because it was crossed out, and it kind of, even that is a major theme, and you'll see here in a moment. I'll get to it, but it's the changing. I have a lot of cusp energy in my natal chart, and even the minute, and it's at the end. It's at the end of signs where my stuff is coming in, and that's kind of signified by the 29 being crossed out and the 30 being there. So I just found it interesting. I was born in Plains, Montana. So if you type in the city and then you put a comma and then you put your state, if you're from the States or whatever city you are in the world, it will pull up anything, but that's an easy way for me to get Plains, Montana to come up. So then I hit continue. Now all that does is it feeds it in, but now I got to pick what I want to do. And what I'm going to do is an extended chart selection, because it lets you define the terms of your chart. So you can see partner down there. That's Jacob. That's my son. I look at his stuff quite often, as well as my wife and my other son, Tristan. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at my natal chart wheel. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change something here. The house system defaults at what's called Placidus. It's a particular type of system. It's the most commonly used one. And it basically, it's geographically defined, and it kind of makes the houses a bigger or smaller according to where you were born on the earth, and kind of how everything lines up mathematically, geographically. But I don't use that model, or at least I'm moving away from it to a different system, and it's the equal house system. And I'll briefly explain why as I let this calculate. Some other things that I want to put in here are aspects to Chiron. Why not? Then I want to make sure I got all my stuff in here. Let me open up these default settings here. Alright. I don't really change around much. I kind of leave it off. It kind of is the way I use it, right? I mean, I could add or subtract anything if I wanted to get into more detail, but for this video, I don't need it. So I'm just going to hit click here to show the chart. Alright. So after this, now I choose the equal house system because it makes everything nice and neat. And the reason why I choose to make everything nice and neat instead of geographically located for an individual's personality is because this is the way I look at it. When you're born, that's like the stamp, right? And the stamp gives you your first house and where your entire chart starts. But after that, you don't really need to increase or decrease the size of the houses according to like where the seasons are and how things are expanded or contracted according to where you live when you're born and how the heavens line up in the background and where the sun travels through the sky during that time of year. I look at it like everything is a circle. Everything. When we look at a planet, it's like nature tries to show us that everything's a circle, and I think we are too. So if I just make it that simple and easy, I can start. Hey, Gemma, this is awesome. Now I know I don't have to pull up that other chat thing from time to time because I saw it come in. But what I was saying is when you do it, the reason why I use the equal house system is because it gives you a starting point, and then you can just make everything equal. And for me, I'm a Libra, so maybe that's why I'm so attracted to this. That, and I've done the study to make sure that, where everything falls actually makes sense in my life. And from doing that, and I've looked at some other people's stuff too, so it's just the one that I'm using. And what I'm talking about is the subconscious natal horoscope right now. So something that I'm going to point out is if you look at the center of the horoscope, there's these little numbers that go around. And it starts at 1 on the left-hand side, and then it goes all the way around to 12, which is right above the 1, also on the left-hand side. Ah, that's awesome, Gemma. That's probably why we're both out there trying to promote peace and love. You know what I mean? It's kind of a Libra thing. So, right here, this line that goes across the horizon, that's right above the 1, that's called your Ascendant Line. And if you look over to the left at where that line meets the actual horoscope portion of the chart that shows you the actual signs of everything, you'll see the sign of Scorpio, which is that M with the little tail that comes out with the point. So what that means is that my ascendant sign is Scorpio. But if you also notice, there is basically another sign that's in my first house. So you could see the very end of Scorpio is going into that number 1. If you follow out the wedge and where it actually expands and hits where the signs are on the wheel, there's 2 signs. The other one that's also in my first house is Sagittarius. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about the subconscious / unconscious elements in the natal chart. Now, this is pretty much going to be for everyone, because nobody's going to line up exactly perfect at the 0 degree start point for a sign and the lining up with the 0 degree start sign of their ascendant. It's just probably not going to happen. Or it's going to be so rare, it's crazy. So what I'm getting at is, even though I'm a Scorpio ascendant, I still have Sagittarius energy in my first house. And what does that mean? And beyond that, we're going to talk about planet placement. So if you notice, we always start at 1 and then go around. So we're going to start in my first house. I've got Neptune in Sagittarius in my first house. Now, if you look right under where it says AC in Scorpio, there's a line. This I'm talking about on the actual wheel separating. It's basically the actual signs where they get separated. That little truncated line that doesn't go anywhere beyond just separating the signs along the wheel. That line is what I'm talking about. That line signifies your unconscious slash subconscious part of who you are. So I am a very subconscious individual. So now we're talking about astrological themes. So some people, they might have a lot of stuff before that line. So you have 2 signs in your house, and their planets might fall significantly before that line of the second sign that's in whatever house we're talking about. But me, on the other hand, I'm significantly the other way, almost exclusively, except for, I believe, 1 planet. And I'll talk about that. So basically, everywhere in my horoscope, my planets are falling in my houses on that second sign, the subconscious, unconscious sign. So what does that mean? All right, that's what this live stream's about. What it means is my internal world, my subconscious energy, is kind of extreme. It's a theme. I spend a lot more time on the inside of myself than on the outside of myself. And what does that mean, and how does that play out? And that's kind of some other things we're going to talk about. So what that means is, well, we'll just start with my first house. Now, that is your house of self-expression. It's like your house of individuality, how you kind of make your first impression on people, how they kind of get a vibe for your energy right away. So I'm giving off this Scorpio signature, this very Mars-Plutonian signature before I even open my mouth. Even though I'm a Libra and I'm Venus-based, and that's why it's kind of milder than some other Scorpios, but there's this intense energy that comes out of me. And it's because of this Ascendant, which is like your most potent energy. Mine's in Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars and Pluto. So, up front, that's kind of the vibe I give out, but there's another layer to it. That's my conscious vibe that I give out. But there's a subconscious vibe as well, and that's the second part of my first house, which is the Sagittarius part. And because there's a planet in there, it really, really signifies an extra potency to that energy in that house. So in my first house, I'm going to have this Neptunian energy that is kind of below the surface, that's there, and other people will subconsciously pick up on it. They may not know exactly what it is or what it means, but they'll feel it. They may not even articulate it or even act towards me addressing it, but it will always be there, and it's very potent because it's in my first house. Any planets in your first house are very potent. Now, it's a generational thing when you get to the outer planets like Neptune. So, people that were born around the same time as me, a lot of us have our Neptune in Sagittarius. And that itself speaks to a certain type of thing. First off, you have a watery planet inside of a fire sign. So it's not natural and it doesn't feel quite right. But that every single planet is going to go through all four elements. So it's not that it's wrong. It's just that it brings the expression of the energy out in a little bit of a different way, and I'll explain that. The expression of Neptune is, it's the planet of illusion, it's the planet of dreaming, it's the planet of imagery. I would say it rules Hollywood, or it's one of the planets that rules Hollywood, because it's the projected image, which is what videos and film are. They're the projected image. They're a way for us to get lost in another world. Just even the novel, like fiction writing, that's also ruled by Neptune. Well, it being in Sagittarius means that I have a fiery desire behind that. Neptune in its own in its own sign of Pisces, is going to be very subdued and relaxed. It's a changeable sign, Pisces is, and it's a water sign, so it's going to kind of let things come to it and go. It's going to want things just to kind of naturally flow to it and flow away from it, and that's kind of its modum operandi. It's not really going to veer too much from that. But when you place the planet of Neptune in the sign of Sagittarius, which is a fiery sign and a fiery energy, and not only that, it has a lot to do with philosophy, even religion, morality. Basically, it's ruled by Jupiter, and it has a lot to do with expansive energy, just like Jupiter. It's the archer, so it's continuously shooting arrows of philosophy out into, multiple arrows out into the universe. It wants to expand. So where Neptune's kind of, easy come, easy go, will sit back on its throne under the sea and let things come to it. Sagittarius is all about going out and finding, going on a journey. It rules. Well, I'm a truck driver, so it definitely rule truck drivers, the sign of Sagittarius, because we're constantly moving and expanding and seeing and doing all sorts of different things, no matter how routine our days are. It's just and we get to go to different states. A lot of us have to start as over-the-road truck drivers, where we're kind of forced just to go all over the country, and that definitely is a Sagittarian way. Travel is ruled by Sagittarius. So it's very apt that my Sagittarius energy would be very significant in my horoscope. And it is. It's in my first house. But it's not really apparent. It's a subconscious thing. So unless somebody really gets to know me on a really deep level, they're not really going to understand what's going on here. Except they'll feel it because that Neptunian energy is really strong in my horoscope in general. So I'm going to check over to my chat real quick. I just want to make sure. I've been kind of looking away from the screen as I talk. I want to see if any more chats occurred. All right, so Gemma says it's confusing. Yes, it is. It takes a lot of study. I've been studying it for about 23 years now. So, yeah, it takes a lot of study. But you can kind of get the basics if you just you start somewhere. And I would suggest starting with your sun sign. And one of my favorite books, it's the very first astrology book I ever read. And it's called Sun Signs. Real simple. And it really does a good job of painting the picture of what it means for your actual sun sign. So I would start there. And if that whets your taste for astrology, then the sky's the limit. There's so much more you can look into. But I would definitely find a starting place and just see if you like it. It's not for everyone, that's for sure. It is for everyone. Like, it's put on this earth as a tool to be used by everyone. That's my belief. But not everyone, it's not going to really jive with everyone. You can definitely go about your life and never really delve into astrology. But it definitely can be used as a tool. What I use it mostly for is understanding other people, because once I understand a little bit about their astrology, if there's ever a conflict between me and that other person, it gives me more empathy towards understanding where they're coming from, because I've studied the astrological archetypes, and they're pretty accurate and legit as far as I'm concerned. So it gives me a basis. Like, even my wife and I have so many astrological things going on with us. It helps me understand her and have empathy for her point of view on things that I definitely don't have a point of view the way that she does. It helps me understand it, and it really does help with interpersonal relationships for me. So that's what I mostly use it for. But I also like talking about it and teaching about it, because I've been studying it for 22 years now. So that's the other thing I use it for, just kind of something to talk about, something that I'm knowledgeable in. So it gives me something to talk about. So right here, this energy of Neptune, it's in my second, let's just call it second half of my first sign, or my first house. So that's the unconscious part. So how does that energy manifest? Well, it manifests that whenever I'm interacting with the outside world, or anything outside of me, like outside of me in general, the matrix, let's just call it the matrix. When I interact with the matrix, the actual 3D reality, I am very geared towards still not being in the matrix. Like, I don't actually, even like tasks like that I have to do for my job, I do them, but it's almost like I automatically do them, and I'm not in the matrix while I'm doing these tasks. Like, I'm very detail oriented, but even that has taken like extreme, I have to train myself to be that way. It doesn't come naturally. Naturally, I would probably just not do tasks. I would just be a being that walks around and helps people with whatever's in front of me. Like, it's only this matrix being geared towards this corporate thing that we've created on Earth that makes me have a job like truck driving in order to have a family, in order to function and be a person in this matrix. But if we lived in a different type of society, I'd be the type of person that would really just kind of walk around, make friends, see what they need help with, help them, have my own creativity, do that. I'd spend my time wisely, maybe not when I was younger, but now I'm a mature adult, so that's kind of how I would function as a mature adult. And that kind of speaks to the subconscious side of me being more a larger part of who I am. So I'm just gonna end this by going around my horoscope real quick. I'm gonna point out all my planets in the subconscious side of each house, so you could kind of see what I'm saying. So then I've explained the conscious subconscious thing enough that I believe that you can take what I've said and apply it to your own horoscope to see if you have a similar theme where you have a subconscious side of your personality is kind of greater and bigger than the conscious side, or vice versa, or if you have a mixture, so you can kind of get a theme for what I'm saying. So we're going to go on to my 6th house, and you see Chiron, which is not a planet, but it is very important in your horoscope, and it kind of signifies the wounded healer, or where you may have made mistakes or missteps in your life that have caused you to have a wound, a significant one. But then after doing so, you're able to actually transform. It kind of gives you a superpower to help others transform their life. And it also is, I believe, it's not just for others, it's for yourself too. Like after you've been wounded, you could figure out healing yourself as well. So mine's in Taurus. And it's in my 6th house, but it's in the second side of my 6th house. The first side is Aries. So really, my 6th house is ruled by Mars in Aries, but my subconscious part of my 6th house is ruled by Taurus. And what that means, Taurus is an earth sign. Now, I'm not going to go around and give every explanation of every planet because I don't have time for that. But I'll do another one because I did Neptune. I'm going to do another one and we'll leave it at that. Taurus is an earth sign, and it's the very first earth sign. It's the really most potent, like, actual nature-based earth sign, if you ask me. As far as, like, us interacting with the 3D world at a tangible, reach out and touch something or someone level. And it being in my 6th house with which rules health, I'll give you an example from my own life of how this has affected me. I was diagnosed a number of years ago with a really rare disease that only affects one person out of every 500,000 people. It's called aplastic anemia, and it's a blood disease, and it has to do with your constitution. Basically, my immune system was eating my bone marrow, and my bone marrow I didn't have enough bone marrow to make blood, so I needed a bunch of blood transfusions when they first found out I had it. And then they have some treatments. The one that they used on me was they pretty much rebooted my immune system. They pretty much killed everything in my immune system, so it wasn't able to eat away at my bone marrow anymore because I didn't have T cells, which are what go at your diseases in your body and fight them. Well, my T cells were eating my bone marrow, so they made it to where I wasn't able to have an immune system. And after that, they did that. They slowly let me have my immune system back with this like suppressant medicine that would just keep my immune system just enough that I could maybe fight. Well, I had to wear a mask for a while. I wasn't able to eat pretty much anything that would come in contact with other people. All sorts of crazy stuff. But I slowly was able to build my immune system back by this suppression medicine. They weaned me off of it little by little, and then my immune system was able to come back. And so they rebooted everything, and I've recovered, and I'm like a normal person again. I don't take any medicine right now. My story is pretty crazy. I've talked about it in some of my videos. I don't think I've done a real story about exactly what's going on with it in a while. I might do one soon. But this is a major part of my life and my health. And the subconscious, unconscious part of it was that I would have never thought that I had a health problem until it smacked me right in the face. And that's kind of what the subconscious stuff can do to you. I've been smacked in my face a bunch of times, because when you live in the subconscious world, when it does make an appearance, it makes it hardcore. So the earth signs kind of, I would say, represent the body, like your health. Even Taurus, Virgo's the epitome of it, of actual human health and signifiers in your natal horoscope, but Taurus can be as well, because it's like it's your first physical expression. Aries is like your spirit. It's like who you are that drives you. It's driven by Mars, but Taurus is driven by Venus, which is beauty and love. And how do we even know what beauty and love is except for it's physically represented in nature all around us? So Taurus is, to me, is the sign of nature. And I believe the human body is a part of that nature. So I kind of viewed my body as in a subconscious way, at its essence, which Taurus is a very essence sign. I would say Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer are the essence signs of the elements. They're the potent energy. They start out the natal horoscope. They're in their youth. They're primal energies. So my primal energy essence sign, Taurus, is just kicking it there in the subconscious realm of my sixth house of health. So the wounded healer, all of a sudden, I dramatically experienced this thing. And I dramatically recovered and have healed myself. Medicines were used on me, but I think a lot of my healing has just come from me actually going, okay, I need to really look at my health and why this happened. Because they don't understand why even aplastic anemia happens. So I just took it on myself to say, okay, well, what in my life could have made this? Well, stress was the first thing. I stopped caring about things anymore. I stopped caring about things that were stressing me out. Money, finances, and I kind of almost had to. And Taurus also rules finances. Kind of almost went through one of the worst parts of my finances in my adult life. I had a family to feed. I was the breadwinner, and all of a sudden I'm sick. And it was just a really bad situation, but I got through it. And now that I am through it, I'm definitely able to help other people. But I just kind of wanted you to see how subconsciously I was operating in my... it also signifies your work life. And my work life, I think, had a lot... Work and health kind of have a lot to do with each other. And my work life, I think I was kind of going at it... in an Aryan way. I'm always going to do that because it's, Aries starts my sixth house, and even my health, where I wasn't really even thinking much about it because Aries is a fire sign and it's driven by Mars. Mars isn't going to sit around and think about its health. Mars is just going to go out there and do and do and do and do and do, and that's how I was approaching my life. While in the background, I was not really paying attention to my health, and so all of a sudden it landed me in the emergency room, and I had to deal with it. And that's kind of my story on that. So I just kind of want to see how the subconscious world, if left ignored and just entirely in the subconscious, it's gonna bleed into the real world in a significant and a way that you're not gonna want it to. I'll put it that way. So if you have these themes in your horoscope where you have subconscious energy, I would suggest to make your subconscious more conscious, because it's there for a reason. You were manifested as a being the way you are for a reason. So I was manifested as a subconscious being for a reason. There's a reason for it. And it's not just my reason. It's like the reason. Everyone doesn't exist just for themselves. Primarily they exist for themselves, but they also exist for the cosmos. And everyone has a mission of things to learn. That mission's not predefined exclusively to one route in life. Life's like a stream. You can get on and get off, but your actual missions, you can find them in your natal horoscope, and you can more attune yourself to making sure that you're on the right path. So for somebody with a subconscious leaning like I have to their horoscope, you really have to make your life more 3D. That's the thing I have to learn in life. I don't have to learn about spirituality. That's inherent in me. I have to learn about practicality, how to actually go into this realm, into this 3D existence, and make things happen here, because that's my weakness. But having discovered this, it's also my strength, because as soon as I figure out how to manifest, I've already done all the work in the subconscious that could ever be done. So I'm ready to go. As soon as I start going, as soon as I'm able to do something in the 3D world, I am ready to go, let me tell you. So I'm just going to run through the rest here and then we'll end this video. I got my moon in the 8th house. It's in Cancer. It's also on the back side, so it's in the subconscious side. Then I got my Jupiter. It's in Leo in the 9th house. It's also on the back side, so it's in my subconscious. I've got my Saturn and my Midhaven, both in Virgo, and it's on the back side of my 10th house. Now here's where it gets interesting, because I do have some placements on the front side, and they're so few and far between that they're worth pointing out, because it will give me a direction on what I need to do in this life. The North Node, and this is probably, at least for me, my most important placement in this life is my North Node, and it's in Virgo. And it's on the front side of my 11th house. So what that means is your North Node's your weakness. It's the thing that you need to get better at. It's the thing that you have not developed in your overall character, so you need to learn it so you can understand it and be a fully functional being that is able to really be a superhuman superhero. Really, if you can get your North Node down, you're on your life path mission. And so mine's in Virgo. Virgo is not a subconscious sign. So, what's this tell me? This means that I need to not be a subconscious being. The South Node is the opposite, and mine's in Pisces. And Pisces is ruled by Neptune and Jupiter. These are planets that really work to expand things that are unseen and make them seen or keep them unseen. Jupiter more makes them seen. Neptune more keeps them unseen, but can make them seen in ways like movies, books, to where they're never really fully tangible. They're more idea-based. They're more spiritual-based. Well, I've developed that part of me to the nth degree. I don't need to focus any more time on that stuff. What I need to do is figure out what a Virgo does, which goes into life, has routines, has day-to-day things that they do, task-oriented, service-oriented. That's the other thing. I need to find a way to be of service to humanity. A practical way, not like a way that doesn't bring results, but a way that brings tangible results that are in place that you can look and see and feel and touch. Earth-based stuff. So this is tough for me. I mean, if you look around, I've got all my stuff in my subconscious side. And I'm still working on what this actually means for me. I think me talking about astrology is something that can help with this, because I'm able to make something tangible and practical outside of me that other people can access if they so choose to do, that is not based on me, but is based on something that they can look at and use for themselves. So it's bringing some kind of a service, right? Now, I could get all caught up, and there's a danger in that. I could get all caught up in the astrology, because astrology is still, like, very wishy-washy, which this placement is telling me I need to not be wishy-washy. I need to be routine, right? So I need to do it in a structured way, and I haven't really gotten that down. It's still on this channel, in my Messy Room Variety channel, Acoustic Stevo, but I'm working at it. That's one of the reasons why I'm thinking about starting my own channel for astrology, 12th house astrology, to where I could start working on this Virgoian way of actually presenting material in a routine, structured way. A very precise Virgo way that brings about tangible results instead of throwing it in my messy Acoustic Stevo room. So I think that gives you a very clear example of how these energies can play out in someone's life. So mine's in Virgo, my south node, and that's one of the only placements I have in the conscious side. So it's funny that I have a very kind of life oriented, like mission energy, being one of the only energies I have in the conscious side. So what that tells me is that that's really what I need to be doing every day. I need to live in the now, not in the past, not in the future. And for somebody who's Neptune based, which I definitely am, and I'll get to that at the end of this video and I'll show you why, that's kind of a hard thing to do. But that just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's not what I'm supposed to do or not needed. And once I unlock that key, it's going to open everything up. And I understand that now. I didn't understand that for a long time. For a long time, I just wanted to ignore, because I've known about my South Node placement and what it actually meant since my late teens. And I just kind of didn't want to learn that. I didn't. But now I'm 40 and Saturn's had its way with me. And I kind of understand that I need to grow up in a lot of ways. And by doing so, I'll be able to be of service to people. Whereas if I linger in this Peter Pan way of being, I never will be that. So that's kind of what I'm going through in my 40s. You know, some people talk about a midlife crisis and they're looking for like cars and women and stuff. I'm not. My midlife crisis is learning how to be the most mature adult that I can be. Like, you know, figuring that part out. That's my midlife crisis. But, so if you look, I got Pluto in my subconscious part of my 11th house. And the 11th house, what's funny about it is it's kind of like the house of community and humanitarianism. So this does tell me that I am supposed to be involved in a community and be humanitarian. So I've got that's really important for me to express. So I mean, it kind of, YouTube, I would say, would be a 11th/12th house thing, because it's social media in general falls in the 11th house. So social media has become a big part of my life. I would say here in the last 2 to 3 years. I wasn't really doing it much when it first started, and you know, Twitter, I could care less. I still could care less. So I'm making my own way into it. You know, that's kind of what the Crypto Bard thing is. I like using cryptocurrency kind of alternative social media, and you know, Aquarius rules the 11th house, and Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and it's going to be, your 11th house is always going to signify your kind of Uranian aspect of your personality. So for me, it's kind of my unique, Aquarius is kind of your unique stamp that you can give to everything. So here it's telling me that my life path is actually to give out that Uranian stamp, but to do it in a Virgo practical way. So Aquarius is really erratic, so I kind of got to find a way to temper that and make it practical. But it does kind of give me a significator of how to do that, because you know, truck driving, that's just what I'm doing to pay the bills. It's just what I do, and I don't want it to be my entire life. So I'm actively, daily working at figuring out what I can do that can get me out of this truck, like straight up. Not because it's horrible or I feel bad in this truck. It's where I'm put for a reason for this time. I'm able to learn a hell of a lot while I do this, like about all sorts of things, but I've learned enough, really. I need to go out and start figuring out how to help other people and not just myself. And it's really weird because I have a lot of weird energies where other people don't really, I mean, you always kind of have conflicts with Uranus. So a lot of times I'm too unique that it kind of goes over everyone's head. And then people don't really want to hear it because I'm talking in their viewpoint probably a bunch of nonsense, or at least stuff that they really could care less about. And that kind of even goes to my South Node in Pisces. I've done the whole like mystic thing already. So for me to come into this life and continue on with the mystic thing, the only way I'll be allowed to do that is if I'm actually transforming reality with it, like in a tangible way that helps people. I can't just do it in a way that self-aggrandizes myself and I get glory for being a mystic. That's not allowed. That's not allowed. I've already had that in other lives. I've already been a guru. I've already done all that stuff. So that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to actually help people, not to give them some message that's going to help them, but to help people in a practical way. And what Virgo does is they say, okay, how can I help you? So that's the question that I have to give out. Like, how can I help you? Is there a way I can help you? And by me letting people know that I'm open to helping them, it doesn't put the agenda of the help in my court. It's not like you have to listen to what I'm saying and that's how you're going to be helped. No, that's not how I'm supposed to help people. I have to ask people, how can I help you? And then they tell me, and then if I can help them, I do. And that's really what I've got to do. And social media can kind of help with that, and I've done that in a few circumstances, and it's really kind of set me on the right course that is something that I can do, and I can see actually come into fruition in the 3D. So it's kind of like one of those things in life, like a flag post that tells you, okay, you're going the right direction. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool when your life path mission is one of the things that is on that conscious side of your house. And mine is my 11th house. And it's in Virgo, so I've got some work to do. Virgo's all about work. Acoustic Steve-O's got a lot of work to do. And he's not bitter about it. I enjoy work, so. Alright, so we'll continue on. And the next thing you'll see is that I have my sun in the 12th house. How more subconscious can you get than that? Your sun being in the 12th house in Libra. Well, that kind of says it all, folks. But it's in the first half of it. Ooh, the first half of the subconscious house. So when I do get to have my planets in the first half in the conscious part of my houses, the first one is one that has to do with karma, and it's in my 11th house. And the second one's in my 12th house. Having to do with the unconscious and dreams and illusion and all sorts of stuff. And it's my actual sun sign, arguably the most potent energy in your natal horoscope. But I can't complain. I was meant to be this way for a reason, and it's really I get a lot out of life because of this placement. I really do. Where I do shine, this is telling me that it's okay for me to shine in illusion. It's okay for me to shine in, things in the spiritual world. It's okay for me, my energy, not only that, the universe backs it up because it's in the conscious part of my 12th house. And so it gives me another flag post. I told you the first one was my north node. Well, this is the second one, and it's in Libra. So when I really want to make an impact with conscious energy and come into the conscious world and out of the subconscious world, where can I look? Well, here's where I can look, my sun sign. So getting to know my sun sign and expressing my sun sign to the world in a 12th house way is really how I can actually make an impact. And that's not the easiest thing to do because the 12th house is kind of a hard place for the sun to actually be the sun, which is all about being seen. It's ruled by Leo, which is the house of being seen. I mean, it's the 5th house, which is the house of your individual energy being seen on the world stage. That energy for me is pushed all the way to the end at the 12th house, but that's okay because here's what it is. There's I'm going to paraphrase a biblical parable / talking point of Christ, and it is the first will be the last and the last will be the first, right? I'm the last. And I even do that, like, I want to be the last. Like, I notice that whenever anything happens, I always want to be the last. Like, when people are ordering food at a restaurant, I always want to be the last person to order. When people are at a buffet line and everybody's lining up, I will, like, purposefully, like, skirt the edges until everyone else is in line, and then I'll get in line, and I'll be the last. And that's not because I'm trying to, like, do anything. It's just naturally how I function. It's just how I am. It's really strange. I think it's because I get joy of watching everybody else get their experience with the thing that I'm about to get the experience from. I get to watch everybody else, and I get to kind of vicariously enjoy it before I even get to enjoy it. You know, like, for instance, a buffet line. I get to watch everybody else getting the things on their plate. And like I said, I'm a subconscious person. Normal people don't really work like that. And that's fine. I'm not meant to be a normal person. I'm really not. But I'm at the end of this video. I think I've illustrated what it means to look at your unconscious/subconscious part of your natal horoscope. So I would challenge you to pull up your natal horoscope through astro.com for free. You could do Placidus. The same thing applies. That's if you leave it on the default, the way that most people do their astrology. Or you could do Equal House, and I'm going to have more videos on that coming up. It's probably when I start this 12th house astrology channel that I'm going to really getting close to just making myself do. I will definitely, house systems are important and are a really good starting point, I believe, for an astrology channel, because it's the basis of everything else that comes after, and you have to start with a basis. So my first video might be why I chose the equal house system, and that might be my first astrology video. So look out for that. Even if I do make a new channel, I'm going to this is my variety channel. I can do anything I want on it. So I'll probably do a shout out channel to my videos on my new channel, at least to get it going, to get it started, to get some subscribers. I don't know how many I'll get, but all that stuff doesn't really matter, because what I'm doing is what really matters, just the actual doing. So look out for that. And you know, I'm challenging you to go look at your horoscope. If you need any help, this is what I'm saying, any help with anything, I'm here. Just ask. And if I can help you, I will. Money for me is a hard thing to give people. But even that, you know, I might find a way to maybe creatively think of a way to get more money into your life. And if you listen to that, it may help you. I'll be an ally for you to find avenues to get more money into your life. What I'm saying is, whatever it is you need, I'm here. I'm not saying I'm like going to be able to be like some magic genie or anything like that, but it's somebody on your side, and that's what I'm meant to do. That's probably why I have a small audience, because I can actually help people if they actually need it, because I'm not overwhelmed with people asking me for help. Definitely not overwhelmed with that. Right now I'm just trying to help the people that are in my life in the 3D, and that in itself takes up a lot of my time, but I do really have it on my heart to help people outside of my life that are ruled by the 11th house, which I spoke on. That's my life purpose. So all you people that I can't see out there, that aren't tangibly in front of me, I'm offering to basically help in whatever ways I can. And I can help in the ways of being somebody that will listen to you if you need to talk to somebody. And whatever you say to me, kind of like a therapist, because I'm an astrologer, I'm not a therapist, but I think that an astrologer really should keep their clients' information confidential, just like a psychologist. It's just a different type of training. Psychologists are trained through the man system, and everybody wants to glorify the man and how they look at everything, but I think astrologers can help people just as much as a psychiatrist or a psychologist, a good astrologer can. I really do believe that. And I'm here for that for free. So if you want, like, just me to look at your astrology and maybe help you with something you're going through or give you some input, it's not going to be bad advice. I'm basically just going to read what your horoscope is saying. It's not even me, it's the heavens that imprinted it, so I don't need to worry about flavoring it with my own thing. So I don't know. It's something that I'm moving into slowly and surely, and I definitely want to offer that to people. And I hope this video gives you a little insight into the fact that, I've been doing this for 22 years. It's free. You're probably not going to get other astrologers to do a lot of astrology work with you for free. And right now, I'm trying to... So it's not just a one-way street. I'm trying to build up... I'm going to have to roll my window up here because it's raining and it looks like I might be in a tornado. I don't know. Hope not. If so, that's just the way it goes. I'll deal with it. But what I'm saying is, I'm trying to build up a portfolio of clients. I've been doing it. I've done it successfully. I've worked with probably about 10 people. Now, I haven't really had a lot of time for it lately, but I want to start opening myself up to it. I was mainly doing it through a site called Simbi, and I believe I still have my astrology offer on there. If you want to go check out Simbi, it's kind of a cool place. But what my astrology offer basically is a natal horoscope reading, and that's usually 30 minutes to 60 minutes, and I make a video kind of like this one, but with your information, and I just go through all your planets and just give you a basic reading. And from there, I would really enjoy a follow-up discussion. Like, if I take the time to do that, what you could give me back is a follow-up. Probably I would prefer a phone call. Like, I'd like to talk to people. And if that's not possible for some reason, we could figure out some other way to communicate. But I would like some kind of a follow-up to tell me, if it was accurate, if it was helpful, if you want more help in a certain area that I touched on, but you need something deeper, things like that. I want to just help people. Like, while I'm in this truck, working towards my goals to get myself out of this truck, I also want to utilize this time for helping people. From the moment I decided I needed to help people till I'm out of this truck on a different trajectory, I'll still be helping people. But I really want that to become more and more a part of my life, just helping people. So if you need help with something, even if it's task-based, like helping with promotion, like you're doing a project and if it's not something that I think's like totally despicable, and I think's kind of cool, I'll tweet it out. I'll do stuff like that. Just basically, I'm trying to connect with people, because that's what we're meant to do. We're not meant to be isolated individuals with a small group of people that we have in our lives, just our family or our friends, and everybody else outside it. I mean, that's why, in my opinion, the age of Aquarius, part of how I know it's happening is that the internet exists. Well, what's the internet do? It connects people all over the world. And I've connected with a lot of people all over the world, and they've come in and out of my life. Not everyone's meant to be in my life for a long time, and that's cool. That's the Uranian energy. That's my 11th house. It's meant to be, short, quick things. And if it's going to be longer, I make a friend, that's cool. I mean, I got plenty of friends, but if you need a friend, that's also ruled by the 11th house. So friendship is. So anyways, I just wanted, I didn't intend to put that whole diatribe at the end of this video, this live stream, but the spirit was speaking. But at the end, I'm talking about my 12th house. You can see I got Mercury right there at it's kind of on the crux. It's right there. It's in my Scorpio side. It's at the 11th degree, so it's not at the crux. I just thought I looked at something wrong. But I got Mercury, Uranus, Mars, and Venus all in my 12th house in Scorpio. So yeah, I'm very subconscious, unconscious themed in my natal horoscope, and that's how you could tell. about themes, and that's what one of the other things I'm going to be talking a lot about is finding themes in a natal chart, because once you find a theme, you can unlock all sorts of things. It's like a key. Like, for instance, when I told you I found out about the theme of the unconscious, subconscious part of each house. And then I was like, this is an epiphany I had today that I'm immediately sharing with you guys. I'm like, wow, this really thematically really goes with pretty much my whole natal chart. So I just kind of hope I illustrated that. And I believe I did, but have a good one, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to check my chat real quick before I leave. Oh, Gemma, you're back. A minute ago. Well, I'm getting ready to wrap up, and thanks for stopping by. And you know what? I would suggest for astrology, I don't know if you're much of a reader. Not everybody is, but if you are, this book is called Sun Signs by Linda Goodman, and I think that would be a great place to start. Or maybe, I like audiobooks now. I used to read a lot of physical books, but I don't have the time for that. So now I do most of my reading through audiobooks. So I do that out of my local library. So I have all that for free. So I'm all about free and cheap because I don't got a lot of money. So that's another suggestion. I believe you could probably find some astrology books to listen to, or even just get from the library, physical books. Linda Goodman, I think, Sun Signs is one of the most popular astrology books ever written, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. So I would suggest that, and I think if you read that all the way through, it would either whet your appetite for more, or you'd be like, I don't really want to read any more about this, and that's fine too. Maybe you'd get a couple pages into it and figure that out. Heck, go to the bookstore, read a few pages if not, you know. But yeah, astrology I think is really cool for understanding yourself and understanding other people. And a lot of people don't look into it because of religious reasons. So if that's not a hang-up for you for religious reasons, then I would say you'd have no reason in the world not to at least look at it and see what you think about it. So, and I'm glad you say you'll research it. That's awesome. And I will see you later. Thanks for stopping by, Gemma. I appreciate it. And I will catch you on the next one.